do.
Hello, welcome everyone. For those listening in, this is Follow Everton pre-match, where we are taking on a relegation rival in Manchester United, but we're above them in the table. That's a weird way of, and it's not week one of the season. We're in a good position. Life is good. Is it sunny in Liverpool, Corey?
Relatively so, yeah. It's not a bad day.
Yeah, I never thought you'd say that all in the same sentence, Chris.
You didn't think I'd pull it off, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Saying that we're going to be, versus Man United down in the bottom near the table, that's a bit of a, yeah, we never thought we'd actually say that. And boys, do you feel like we're all actually a bit confident in this game? Like, I don't think I've actually gone into a Man United fixture actually feeling a little bit confident. Mind you, we do have to be wary. They do got some wicked talent, but this is definitely one of the fixtures that I've certainly been watching for a long time. As far as I've been following Everton for, but I've actually feel quite confident. But we can't be overconfident because we do have to be careful. They do have good players, but they can hurt you. But we just got to, feeling positive.
Yeah. For those that have been following Everton, have you realised, for Corey and those in the chat as well, when was the last time we scored a goal against Manchester United in any competition?
Was it? Do you know what, mate? You've completely lost me.
So I looked it up.
He's obviously
when we lost 2-1 in the FA Cup when Lampard was in charge. That's the last time we scored a goal against United.
Oh, was it? Yeah. What was that?
So basically,
2 years
he was
ago?
outdiced for a while there when what's his name, Ten Hag was in. And then we got our ass handed to us earlier in the season under Amorim on his first match. So Moyes, maybe he's gotten results before at Goodison against United, and United are not in good form. Don't take it for granted, but this should be 3 points today, right?
It should be. I think at the very least we shouldn't be losing. But I said on the preview yesterday that we've really got to go for this. We can definitely win. We can definitely win by multiple goals as well. I'd call it kicking someone while they're down, kicking a wounded animal. I mean, that's what we should be doing today.
Yeah, I'd agree with Corey as well. But I also feel like if you listen to Moyes' press conference, he did mention that someone asked him and said, "Have you ever gone down to Branley Moor yet? Have you seen the stadium?" He's like, "I'm not going there until we actually cemented that we're going to be a Premier League club for the next season," which is fair enough, and that means he's going to be dedicated. He's going to be gunning to win this game. He's also probably got a bit of a point to prove as well to to Manchester United after leaving there as well. So I think he's got Moyes is definitely going to want some blood, I reckon.
Yeah, he played it down.
Prove it absolutely not, huh?
Yeah, he played it down in the press conference, but there's always that one thing, isn't it, where you go back somewhere and you do want to give a little bit more than you probably. It means a bit more than it would do usually. So I can see that being a case. With that in mind, I'm not surprised that he's gone with the Corey, because I guess it's the more not sensible, but it's a safer option. But I would have thought and I would have liked for him to use Alcaraz, maybe again, like you said, maybe going for a bit of blood and just attacking him a little bit more, going a bit more attacking in terms of our mentality today.
Yeah. Hey, just a thought, lads, for this quick chat that we're going to do. Do you want to do a quick rundown and just a brief team selection, like possibly start with Chris and go Corey and then myself, just to see what we're all thinking?
I mean, the lineups are up. Are we going to pretend that we haven't seen the lineup and do our ideal 11 before we announce it, or how do you want to do it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so Adam, before we show you the lineup, tell us what your lineup is, and then we'll show you what we have.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right.
Let's do that.
Obviously, you probably go with Pickford in goal, Mikalenko left back, Tarkowski, or Braithwaite, Tarkowski, and then O'Brien at right back. And then you'll have Garner and just going to go in the middle. And then on the left, you'd have Harrison. On the right, Lindstrom. I'm probably going to say he's going to go with Decore in the middle and Beto up front.
Well, you're 10 out of 11, Adam, because the only person that you missed was
Alcaraz.
Picked it out and got subbed out. No. You're exactly right. The main one, as you're saying, was Abdoulaye Decore coming in, or was it the likes of Alcaraz or Eric Boonham for that matter as well? But your anticipation is right.
That was perfect.
Well done, lad.
And it goes to Gavin Cunningham's point of, is it though? And interacting with the crowd comments here. Do you think it's Sean Dyche material? Is it a form of playing tactically safe? Is it, or how do you see that decision to bring Decore back?
I think it's Moyes being Moyes. He's a much better manager than Sean Dyche, but one of the things we've said, and we know from his previous stints, is he's got his attacking better, but he is still a defence-first manager. He is a more pragmatic manager. So I've got absolutely no surprise. I probably was expecting him to play Decore today, especially against a team like Manchester United, who maybe a little bit more the name as opposed to the position in the table. That's what he's going against? Whereas personally, me, like I said, they're a wounded animal, they're down. I'd have liked us to play Alcaraz. I think he's much better technically. It'd help us to attack them in the transition, which is where they're weak. But there's absolutely no surprise for me even playing Decore because, like I said, he's a defence first, a bit more pragmatic type manager still. Even if he is 10 times the manager going forward than Sean Dyche is.
Well, he's got Alcaraz, Charlie available on the bench to come on in the second half and impact as well. But he's also, I think a game like up against Man United and their defence, I think Beto and Decore could have an absolute, both of them could potentially come out quite well on top of this. So maybe it actually is a good call by Moyes in starting Decore over Charlie.
So I think Wormy's comment he just brought up really ties this in too, because I guess the thought is you want some impact off the bench. So Adam's face is covered here, so to do it real quick, I'm disappointed Decore is back, but we have nothing on the bench, so he wants players who can change things when they come on.
That was a good look for you. That make you sweet bean Gambit.
Yeah. Just
peeking over the edge, like.
I mean, I do understand where Wormy's coming from, but I'd rather it be because Decore can play a couple of positions, and I'd rather Man United can see goals fairly early on in the game as well. So I would like to take the game to them early on, especially while we're at home. So I would have preferred that Decore can come on late on, and then we've got the flexibility when he comes on. Do we want to bring him on further back and hold the lead, or do we want to push him up further forward? So that's my personal preference. It's the only change I would have made. It's probably the only option that we really had to make any changes as well. But I'm not gonna be kicking off about it. I understand why he's done it.
Did you feel last week when Charlie had his had his goal and assist? Granted that's obviously a big impact for his first start in the Everton shirt. But do you feel like in some of those games he was drifting in and out of the game? I felt he wasn't. It wasn't an absolute. He cemented his place. He's obviously made a big impact with the goal and assist, but it just to me looked like he's obviously got flair. He's definitely a player in there. He's definitely talented, and can definitely help us out. I'm not saying he's not, but it's just in terms in that game, he just seemed to drift in and out a little bit. I
feel that you get that with Decore as well, though. There's times when Decore will be not even just drifting in and out; he'll be completely anonymous in games. It's usually early on in the second half or halfway through the second half. He gets that second win late on because of his engine, but he does seem to drift out the game typically early on or halfway through that second half. So I find that's often the case with Decore as well. So I said I'd rather just get the job done early and then have options later on, especially defensive options if need be. Look, it's my personal opinion in regard to this. I see the game maybe a little bit different than David Moyes does. And David Moyes is the one that's got a successful career in management and I don't. So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. Both managers we referenced, Dyche and Moyes, would seem to prefer Decore on the team sheet when given the choice. And I mean, of course, we liked what Charlie's doing, and those that saw the video of him training with Harrison, it was kind of fun to see Harrison. It's brought something out of him as well. So a really good addition. And I'm going to use this conversation as a segue to talk about United too, because they we talked about how Everton struggled to look creative up in front, and they're really struggling creatively to score goals as well. And as you mentioned, Corey, they're quite vulnerable. So I'm going to bring up
with
their lineup.
Amad Diallo will be out for the season, so he's one of their most influential creative players on that right hand side there. So that's going to be a massive benefit to us. But obviously, we're going to looking at there. You're going to have to watch out for Fernandez, and I think it's still got players who can hurt you.
They have, but they've got players somewhat playing out of position. I stand by my belief that Casemiro and Ugarte as two in the central midfield. I know it's 4 with the wing backs, but as a 2-man in the central midfield, I think I think that's weak. I don't think they're built for that kind of midfield. So we can certainly attack them. There's certainly going to be space there. Hopefully the Corey's energy will help us to exploit that. But I still thought Alcaraz would be able to take them spaces and move past them, which the Corey typically wouldn't do. And I think that obviously the back three, they're not built for the back three either. Mazraoui's a full-back or wing-back. De Ligt and Maguire, I know Maguire certainly doesn't have the mobility to play that wide centre-back role in my mind.
Yeah, I think just looking at that list quickly. Sorry, Chris. That one player that in my opinion, I think we just need to watch out for on the right hand side there is De Ligt, and Dallo is. Remember that cross that he gave to Garnacho that they scored against us, that worldie. He's a very creative player on that right hand side, and he can be very, very dangerous. So I think we've just got to really watch him. Particularly if Mikolenko can shut him out, that'd be the way to do it.
Yeah. So, while trying to prepare for this, Adam, what I also noticed was we have. See if I can get us to fit in all on the screen properly. See if that works. Now let's sneak up. Nope, that's not going to work either.
Where are you going, Chris?
I'm trying to get us all on the same screen, Adam. That's what I'm trying to do. Not very well, though.
Can't you just move it across a bit?
Not live. we're all trying to squeeze in on my little laptop. So basically, Dallo and I think it's Dorju are their wingbacks. The challenge that they've been having, from what I've been reading, is that when Dallo plays in fullback, he knows his position, but it seems that they want to be very slow on build up. But then when they do go forward, the wing backs aren't in a developed enough position up the pitch. So very quickly, Xerxes and Fernandez, who are meant to tuck in to give space for the wing backs, are kind of in a stagnant role, kind of waiting for the wing backs to develop. And if they do get up, then they're set up in a one-on-one situation, very much like what we saw with Dyche, where there was no way of breaking teams down because there was no off the ball movement, no kind of creative options. And I think that's what we've been seeing with United recently. So you're going to have someone like Xerxes, who's a number 9, playing next to Højlund out of position, and then Bruno sitting behind. So imagine Beto playing as a number 10 next to DCL. You'd think that's a terrible setup. What are they going to do? Casemiro, yes, but they also don't have. Who was the guy again? Not Diallo. Kobe Mainoo's out injured as well, so they're weak through the middle. They also don't have the most progressive midfielder who wants to. Central defender that you want to have come into the middle to kind of fill that space where our number 10 would sit. So maybe Mazraoui does it, but Maguire and De Ligt are going to sit back. So there's actually a gap there between Casemiro, Maguire, and De Ligt for our players to wreak havoc in the middle. Xerxes not knowing where to cover, and hopefully Dallo and Dorju aren't sequencing their runs too well. That's my thought on what we're going to see.
Yeah, I think Maguire, he'll play on the left-hand side, and he does drop out wide. He's naturally left-footed. He has that bit of balance. He will push out wide or push up a little bit further because that's what he likes to do. But for me, it's the transition. They're not good in transition. A lot of their goals are conceded when they lose possession in that transition because, number one, a lot of the players aren't used to the positions that they're playing. Number two, the pace in midfield isn't there, especially at the moment without Kobe Mainoo. And number three, Maguire doesn't have great mobility in terms of once that ball turns, look, he's decent playing in a fairly low block But on the transition, once that ball's in, he's going to struggle. You can turn him in, you can turn him out. And De Ligt isn't the most athletic as well. He's probably not the most agile of centre-backs as well. So I think on the transition is where we'll be able to harm them the most. If we can press not ridiculously high, but fairly high, win the ball in their half, even if just round about the halfway line, we'll be able to get a lot of chances from that. Beto having the ball running onto him. So I think that's what we should be aiming for, and I think that's where a lot of our luck's going to come from.
So in that, I'm looking at that as well. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I agree with both of you said, like hitting him in the transition, but particularly like James Garner, if he can try and find those through balls, you can see how effective those through balls and how Beto's finishing has been once we played him through the channels. He's a very clinical finisher, looks very confident at the moment. If James Garner can try and get those through balls into him through the channels behind in between De Ligt and Maguire, that's something that we can definitely look at, and potentially like Decore with his carrying the ball and trying to break through those lines in the midfield, and then try and expose the defense through the channels, and then for Beto to run onto. I think that's something that we probably need to look at there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Certainly places where we can expose them, especially when the wings backs are going, like I said, wing backs are going higher up the pitch. Any kind of 3 at the back, 5 at the back formation, it's a way to attack them. And I think Manchester United are especially vulnerable at that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing a comment here from either Abo, who's been on the chat recently. So Maguire not being left-footed used to be a whole thing under Eric Ten Hag that they wanted to build from the back, but because he would play in the left centre-back position, he would open up into the middle of the park on his right foot. But I'm not sure where that kind of fits. But do you feel like Maguire is going to be a weakness for them? He seems to have done quite well against us aerially. I think he's our equivalent of a Tarkovsky.
I was just about to say, don't lob up to Beto and try and get him to hold it up with Maguire on his back. That's not something we want to do. We want to play it into feet through the channels, like I don't know, into the Decore or into a high pressing James Garner,
like we did against Liverpool.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you don't want to be lobbing it up high to Beto or Decore and expecting them to win an aerial duel against Maguire or Lit coming over the top of them. I don't think that's going to work well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things as well we need to think about is how the tactics going to work, because we were speaking yesterday that when United away from home, they've got a lot better, much better form and much better results away from home than they have at home, and as well as that, a lot of their possession is they've got less possession essentially. They've got sub 50% possession away from home, and that's where their best results are coming in. So they're a bit more of a counter-attacking team. At home, they've got more possession. Now, we're a team that likes to see possession as well. We like to play on the counters, probably where we're the most comfortable. So it's a case of, are we going to be able to let Manchester United have the ball? Are they going to settle in and be more counter-attacking based because they're away? Or it's basically who blinks first? Typical Mexican standoff kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So I think it's a case of we need to do that. We need to stick to the game plan, not like we did against Forest, where we completely went against that game plan and just went for Forest and left so much space at the back as well. So I think it's a case of that. We have to be patient, let them have a bit of the ball, but press high up so we can win that ball off them higher up and attack them from there.
Yeah. The other thing that's been interesting with the United, Corey and Adam as well, that they don't seem to want to press high. They will give a lot of time to the Everton backline. Moyes seems to take advantage of that a lot more than we saw with Dyche, where people are almost afraid to have possession. Granted, against high-pressing teams, we're thinking Villa and the Bournemouth FA Cup fixture, we got exposed. But if the pressure isn't high up the pitch, that could make for a very interesting setup for Everton to be a little bit more comfortable on the front foot. Yeah, don't be too outgoing, but that gives us some opportunities to build through the middle a lot more than maybe we've seen against some of the better opposition recently.
Yeah, and it's a good option as well. If we see that we've made any mistakes that we have made recently is because our centre-backs or our defence aren't the most comfortable on the ball. I've been quite happy with what Jacob Breen's shown at times. Branthwaite's good on the ball, but if you look at as a whole, Tarkovsky and Mikalenko, they're probably not the most comfortable. So I think them not pressing that high up suits us because we can get the ball to the midfielders. Gay, Garner, Lindstrom, Harrison. They should all hopefully be able to play through that press a bit higher up, so we don't have to worry as much about the defence. And again, we can hopefully beat the press and again create more chances going forward. So once you do that, we can bypass that midfield hopefully with a lack of pacing. Again, through balls, into feet, into the channels, and again create more chances there.
Is Adam testing his camera out?
Yeah, I was.
For a minute.
Yeah, number 9, number Thornley. It was my birthday recently, so Everton gave me a little avatar picture for free.
Oh, so the official Everton website gives you an avatar of your choosing?
Yeah, not much. Well, it's a shirt with a Thornley number 9 on. So yeah, I just saved the photo.
I wish you got a Shandy Van der Meter and brought back some vintage 2007 vibes, huh?
Yeah.
So,
hey, do we all want to do our match predictions?
Yeah, we certainly can. I've just knocked the referees down there on the bottom as well, if anyone wants to have a look, but that's more
nice.
just for it. So before we do our predictions, why don't we go through some of the predictions of those on the chat? We won't go fully into the American politics. You brought up Mexico, and I was like, oh no, we're going down that road. We will, though. I'm going to go through some of the score predictions. So Kevin Kraft has a Everton 3, Man United 0, which brings back the last time I can remember under Moyes, was it when Jack Rodwell scored before he kind of went off the deep end and he had his shirtless celebration at Goodison. That rings a bell for a good 3-0. Peter Duggan, who's all of a sudden very optimistic, but I'll take it. Everton 4-0. Looking for the reverse fixture. What else we got? Mr. Blue Skies thinks pretty optimistically, but less so. We're not keeping a clean sheet, but still winning with Beto, Lindstrom, and O'Brien. I think that's it. So what do we think, Adam, number 9?
Adam, number 9. I reckon it's going to be 3-0 Everton. And
I've
I'm
got
going
the
to
same.
say I reckon Beto's going to. Yeah, I think Beto's going to get. I think he's going to get 2. And I would, to be honest, I'd actually really want to see Lindstrom get a goal. I'd be really happy if Lindstrom scored because I think he deserves it. He's been working really hard. Yeah, he's been very close the last couple of games. He's been on target. Shots just haven't quite got there. But yeah, I'm very, very keen for him to get a goal.
You, Chris?
I think Everton. He wants to close out with a final opinion.
I done mine yesterday, so you can get yours out of the way.
Be like, and Rod Ross says 4-0, and Eugene says 4-1 with Beto, Hat-trick, and Doucouré. So I don't think it'll be a blowout, even if it should be based on all logical trends to date. I think we'll win 2-1, but it'll not be easy. I'm not sure why. I just have this pessimism about a surprise here.
You can say
I think Beto will score, and I really want Lindstrom to score, but I don't think he will. I think it'll be Beto and actually Branthwaite, proving the Man United players wrong, which would be fitting after him being a signing option in the summer.
Yeah, Jan had Branthwaite yesterday as part of it. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he had Beto and Branthwaite as well. So the reason I go last, I done mine yesterday as well as part of the preview. I had 3-0, 2 for Beto, and I had 1 for Alcaraz as well. So
okay.
I think everyone's really positive, Andy. I think it's good to see everyone's positive. We're going into this. Let's hope it's not, as Rod Ross has said, a banana skin. Getting us all, building us all up to knock us down. But we're all positive. And look, I reckon if we take this attitude and the fans in the stadium take this attitude into the game, we should be able to win. We should be able to kick them while they're down and move 4 points ahead of them and keep moving on towards the top half of the table.
Yeah. Well, knowing that's a fun fixture. Go ahead.
Could you imagine if it's another James Tarkowski volley?
I mean, I could imagine.
That'd be good.
Yeah, Paul was a fan as well.
Was he?
Yeah.
So what did he say in his interview? Did he say, I just tried to kick it as hard as I could and just smiled? Is that what?
But he didn't... Go on, mate.
Yeah, he said something along the lines of, I was listening to it before. So he said Nikolenko essentially saw Miko, he lobbed the ball in, and he said, I pretty much just get in the box and knew sort of where it was going. And then I got to in the path where Tim was going to header it. And then he just goes, I was just thinking to smash it. I wasn't really thinking anything else. And then someone said, oh, your XG, what was your XG percentage rate? And the stat was like 0.05 or something. He's like, is that all? I thought it'd be way better than that. for that type of a shot. But yeah, I think he was just looking at the goal and to hit it high as well, to hit it with a bit of power. So it's going to take off a really good save to stop.
He said he said as well, didn't he, that he'd been Jagielka had done like a preview for him for Sky, and he'd been at Tarkovsky's house practicing volleys because obviously number 6 out and how it all ended up playing out. And he'd been practicing volleys in his back garden and on his pitch in his back garden with Jags, and he didn't score one, missed every single one. He said when he had the chance to shoot, he passed it to the corner. He panicked, so this time he just thought, correct, go for it. Yeah,
he did also mention whenever they do striker training, when they train at Finch Farm, he said Tarks never actually bothers to train. He just practices on defending.
He doesn't want to pull his hamstring striking it too hard.
Well, we've got 2 goals scored in centre backs anyway. You can strike a ball in Michael Keane and Branthwaite, so we don't need 3. We're being greedy.
Yeah, Jake O'Brien still isn't on the score sheet this season, is he?
No.
Yeah,
no, not yet.
To be honest, half of the team isn't on the bloody score sheet.
Yeah, I can see O'Brien getting a goal too. To be fair, he's very clinical in front of goals. He definitely likes a big header. He's a big unit. He's a beast.
He's had a couple like off the line. He's had 1 or 2 off the line. His header down was converted last week and it was considered offside. So he's getting onto the end of balls. Obviously, he's bigger than Branthwaite, so he's a man mountain. So there's definitely the option there from set pieces.
Yeah. So realizing we've done the predictions early, I'm gonna get another predictions, and if I've got this wrong, anyone in the chat interject. But Mikolenko hasn't scored this season. Yeah. Has Branthwaite scored? I think he must have got one.
Yeah, Branthwaite scored.
Okay, so take him out of it. We have O'Brien has not scored. Did James Garner score, or is it just his assist? No goals, I think, from him.
No, I don't think he has scored. I thought he got one earlier on the season, but I don't think he has. Okay,
so no James Garner. Garner Gay, has he scored this season?
I don't think he has. No.
Okay. So now we're 4 of the starting team halfway through the season haven't scored. Pickford got an assist, Kevin. I'm going to give him credit as a keeper, but and then you add Jesper Lindstrom onto that, and then you say, did Harrison score? I don't think he would have. So 7 of the starting 11, not including the keeper. So 70% of our starting lineup haven't scored a goal.
So I'll tell you what,
that's kind of a wild thought, isn't it?
We've had 10 goal scorers this season. I was wrong. Branthwaite hasn't scored. Illiman and Jai's got 6. Beto's got 5. Dwight McNeil and Dom have got 3. Michael Keane's got 2. Alcaraz, Tarkovsky, Young, Mangala, and Adelaide Decore all have 1 goal each. But the club put a tweet out earlier saying I think Decore's got 6 goal involvements in his last 5 games against Manchester United or something like that. Let me just see if I can find it. So he's got 6 Premier League goal involvements against Manchester United, 3 goals, 3 assists, his joint highest against any side. And he's back in the starting 11.
Was that you referencing?
Abdoulaye Decore.
Okay. So someone who seems new to the chat, is it, I'm going to struggle to pronounce this one. Is it Herkon Isaac Sarak? Is saying, did Garner not score a screamer at the start of the season? I thought he scored a lot of his goals came at the end of last season, including the goal against Brentford and Nottingham Forest. I can't remember one at the start of this season. Maybe in the cup. Maybe in the cup though. Maybe
he scored a good goal at the start. Let me have a little look if there's anything in the EFL Cup. Again in the League Cup, Decore and Jai, McNeil and Beto all scored 1 goal.
So, my question to you, for those that haven't scored yet, maybe there's a good prediction for the chat as well. Who do you think scores first of all these goalless wonders on our starting lineup.
Beto.
Lindstrom.
Okay, you can't say Beto, Corey. He's already scored before.
Oh, goalless ones. Oh, sorry, my mate. I thought you meant like because we've got none. It's just I thought you meant, I didn't realize you specified all the. I thought you meant in general was
for all
goalless.
those
If you know what I mean.
goalless wonders who
My
scores.
right. Okay. My apologies. I think Branthwaite.
Yeah, that was my
Sorry.
prediction. Is I think he might score.
So
do
I
you
just
think,
looked
Adam?
up the season stats for Jusuganaga. He scored 0 goals. He's got 2 assists this season.
Yeah, he did have a few, and that was huge at the end of last season. Him scoring what he did.
Yeah, he's got
was
like
a big part
three,
of Daesh recovery
goals
at the end
yeah.
of the season.
Yeah, correct. I think Lindstrom.
I can see that.
Or O'Brien.
Yeah, I'd probably say if I was going to pick 3, they'd be the 3 I'd be picking out.
Yeah. Someone also said, I can't show the comment, but I think it was Eugene was saying Big Dunk is at Goodison Park. So hope you see him on telly. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's Everton Giants Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everton Legends Day. So Degsy Mount,
They were showing
Kev,
Andy Gray a lot,
Andy
weren't
Gray.
they?
Yeah, there's a few of them being basically inducted.
Andy Gray.
So they'll be there, and I'm assuming we'll see a couple more Everton legends. Big Dunk there. Peter Reid will probably be there, but he's there at every game. So hopefully they'll be there and they'll get to witness again another good result against the Manx.
Yeah. So a comment from earlier I just wanted to address. I had brought up relegation, but it really was more of a tongue-in-cheek thing to say what are the odds that Man United in relegation conversation and Everton really aren't at the moment. I think the second we start thinking about relegation right now, we've got the wrong mindset to where we're at. We can't take matters lightly, but you know what? A professional outfit won't think such a way. So keep with the right mindset and don't think backwards, and we won't be in a problem situation.
Yeah, loads are saying, aren't you, that we still need probably 2 wins before we can say for definite we're not going to get relegated. And while I probably agree with that mathematically, I think the way the form is, it'll take an absolutely massive drop off in form for us to get relegated. And I do think, like you said there, that I think we do need to start looking ahead, looking at the teams above us. I'm not talking about Europe, but statistically, we're as close to Europe. In fact, if we get that 5th Champions League spot, we're as close to the Champions League spot as we are to relegation points wise. And I'm not saying we're going to go for that, but I'm saying we should start looking up now. We should start looking at Spurs, who are just above us, Brentford, who are above us, and looking to maybe try and finish in the top half of the table. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but based on the form and where we're at, that's what we should really be going for. If you're aiming at a certain height and you miss it, you're only going one downwards. If you aim lower and you fall below, you're always going to end up lower. So just aim as high as you can do.
Yeah, well, you've been hearing Moyes, what he's been saying in all of his press conferences and his reactions to games. That's where, in my opinion, from what he's saying, that's where he's looking. So he's looking up those clubs and where he thinks Everton should be. And he's in that top half, the top 4, top 6.
And the top 4, that's a bit of a jump. I'll take it.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's what we should be, again, probably realistic and say it's not going to happen, but it's what we should be aiming for, or at least getting as close to that as possible. Because once you do that, all these players that we'd maybe struggle to attract to come to us, and they'd be going to the likes of Brentford and Brighton, maybe not your A-list players, but the up-and-coming players who go to them because they're playing well. Players will then start thinking that, okay, we're not joining a relegation scrap team, we're joining a team who's on the up. And if you make that jump from surviving relegation to mid-table, well, then the next step is Europe, and they'll be joining a team that's going to fight for that. So I think we do need to aim as high as we possibly can. It's going to help us with the great reset in the summer as well.
Soon enough, Onana will want to come back.
I think it's well. Do you know what, mate? I'm happy with Eric Boonham. I think he's very much able to play that Onana role, and I think he's got a bit more about him in terms of a bit of metal. A bit of scrap about him to get in. So I really like Eric Boonham. I know he's only had cameos since he's come back from injury, but every single time he's made a cameo, I think he's looked really, really good, considering the amount of time he's been on the pitch for.
So for those that are coming in late, including Toffee Man, so just circling back, This is the lineup for today. So Pickford in goals, largely unchanged. We asked Adam for a prediction, and he got the prediction bang on. So Brian, Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, Mikalenko make up the back four with a midfield 4/4.5, if you want to call Decore the number 10 there, but Idrissa Gana Gay, James Garner, Abdoulaye Decore, Jesper Lindstrom, and Harrison through that midfield, and then Beto leading the line. We have, as we are expecting, two keepers in Jar Virginia and Asmir Begovic. We have one of the highest scoring defenders in the league in Michael Keane on the bench as an option late. We have Ashley Young, Charlie Alcaraz, who is he now number 23? I thought he was 24 last week. Did he change number?
Well, I'm not too sure. I just thought he was number 23.
Well, okay, maybe I got my number wrong.
Was it? It was late. It would have been early hours for you, mate. So that's why.
Maybe I've just lost a number. I thought it was 24. Anyway, Eric Burnham, Tim Eric Burnham, and then it was Omar Sharif.
Martin Sharif. I said Omar accidentally.
Yeah.
That's an Egyptian actor from the 60s.
I thought Corey kept saying it and I got it wrong. And then Roman Dixon and Isaac Heath. So we've got a striker and a left winger from the youth that I don't expect to see much time, but they are there to build up squad opportunities. We've got lots of goalkeeping options. And our likely striker replacement is Michael King. So.
Yeah. I would actually like to see Martin Sheriff for 10, 15 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. Just see what he's about up against Man United that are a little bit winded at the moment.
Once we're up 3-0, that's an excellent time to see both of them come on.
You see, the lad's he's certainly got the physicality. I know it's a step up going from obviously academy football to playing against obviously the athleticism in the Premier League, especially when you've got strong players like Maguire and De Ligt as well. So we probably need to have someone close to him and support him. Maybe have two up top, or maybe someone behind Sheriff who's going to get a bit closer than Decore would do. I think he'd need that. But if we are multiple goals up, which hopefully we are, and we've certainly got it in us today, hopefully we do get a chance to bring just some of these younger players on, just give them a taste. Because you never know, sometimes, again, like with Beto, you give them the chance, it clicks, and they just take it on further, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one person, I think we're in a particular game like this that we might be missing is was it Harrison Armstrong, who is now at was at Derby now. So
yeah,
I think someone like him would be very effective in that midfield. Potentially like giving James Garner a bit of a rest towards the back end of the game.
He seems to go all over the pitch, doesn't he? He sometimes plays up quite high and wide, but he does come central occasionally. Corey, you've probably seen him more than we have. Do you think he actually is more of that like central midfield role?
Yeah, when he'll eventually move into the Premier League, he'll probably play a central midfield role. Look, he's got a good bit of physicality for his age group, and he can defend. He's got good size to him, but he is more of a central midfielder. Whether he's a box to box, he's not defensive side of the box to box, but he can certainly get the ball deep. He can pass the ball all throughout the centre of the pitch, and he can play somewhat of an attacking role as well. So when he plays slightly out wide, it was when we had Baines and Coleman doing their own 3-4-3, and he played the similar role to what Bruno Fernandes does. He's not typically a wide player, but he just sits a little more of a number 10, slightly out wide, taking up them pocket spaces, maybe slightly in the channels. So he's not a wide player. Anywhere in that central spine, in that midfield, central midfield, box to box, or even just behind a striker, he can certainly play that. Technically, he's very good. He can pick a pass. He's got a good bit of physicality to him. He's not rapid.
So Adam thinks, and Adam brought up his concern that Dallow's going to be the main player to break us open today. Do you see Dallow doing that from the right wing back position, or do you see someone else being that player today, Corey?
No, I certainly think that'll be the case. Xerxes will probably drop deep, or Fernandes will drop deep with the ball. Maybe essentially take the attentions away from Decore, Garner, maybe even Mikalenko in a fairly narrow position. And what that will then do will allow Dalot a lot more space on the right to get past Mikalenko and whip a crossing. That's likely what we'll see from Diego Dalot there. We do know that Mikalenko is decent at defending one-on-one, especially if players are trying to cut inside because he's not got that pace. So if he's just defending one-on-one and he can shepherd you, he's a decent defender. But players who've got pace going on the outside is where probably his weakness is. And it's something that probably Diego Dalot would be able to exploit. Something that you'll certainly try to exploit. But it will take the combined efforts of the likes of Xerxes, Fernandez, pushing forward, dragging Mikalenko more narrow and allowing that space for Diego Dalot to get wide, because he's not exactly got the blistering pace of the likes of Adama Traore, who gave him such a hard time. But with a bit of extra space provided by the central attacking players, it'll probably give him that extra yard for him to get away from Mikalenko and get a crossing.
So my thought when you brought that up was Jack Harrison being on the left side. We're not going to give him credit for creating a lot of goal scoring opportunities this year, but what you can't discredit him for is his lack of effort and being a squad player, positionally playing deep defensive under Dyche. How did you feel he played last week when he was filling in Jai's shoes?
Do you want to go, mate?
Yeah.
I think he done all right, to be honest. He got a little bit of stick from people, but I don't think he was terrible. I think he had a fairly solid game, 6.5 out of 10. He put in a couple of good crosses. And I think as we get, because we're not used to players crossing the ball from that left at the moment, are we, this season? McNeil's moved a bit more central. And he's not played for a while. So I think, again, Beto's not the best in the air, but if he's whipping crosses in, Beto getting in front of plays for them over time, over the next couple of games with some more experience together, you can see that creating more chances as well. So he's willing to whip a ball in, certainly. I think creatively he didn't do too bad. His control of the ball, when he came on against the Reds, against the Copites, trying not to swear. Trying my best not to say that word. I think his touches of the ball were brilliant as well. Again, didn't create too much, but his touches on the ball, the way he kept it, he done really well. And because he was able to get the ball to his left foot and he was confident he could whip the ball in, you've seen a bit more confidence from him than his usual stick of getting the ball, trying to cut in on the right and not really do much with it. So he's looking a bit more confident on the left-hand side. Hopefully that confidence breeds better performance, breeds better support, breeds better performance, and it's cyclical. So yeah, I'm not majorly concerned with him coming in. He's no NGI, but I don't think he's going to be a weak point today.
Because and I'll bring Adam back in. So with Harrison on the left now, my thought was, okay, Dalot can be a menace if you have the likes of Xerxes occupying that spot between Branthwaite and Mikalenko, making him play narrow. So therefore, it gives space for Dalot, except Harrison will play defensive, but I don't know how he plays with Mikalenko on the left. How have you felt, or what are your thoughts on Harrison matching up against Diego Dalot, Adam?
I've actually seen a couple of little snips of how Moyes is set up, in particular with Harrison on the left-hand side. And what we've noticed, or what we've seen in these clips, is that Harrison's actually coming in and blocking those gaps. So he's not sticking too wide. But if Dalot basically sits and stands on the touchline, I don't think Harrison's going to track him out there. I think he's going to stay more central and more. He's going to hold that position. But it looks like Moyes isn't playing as narrow as what Dyche did, but and Harrison's not getting too pulled in. But I think he's going to keep he's not going to be completely wide. It's not going to be like full central. He'll stay somewhere around the middle there.
Okay, so you think basically we're going to cluster the middle and Dalot will be isolated on the right?
Potentially, yeah. But we do have to be careful, especially when they try and switch the play, put it over the top of them to free up Dalot over on that far side. That's what we need to be careful of. But I think even like to try to block and shut Fernandez out, if we do that, that could be absolute key as well. So someone like Decore standing in front of him and blocking those passing lanes, that could potentially be a bit of a game changer as well too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if what it seems to be is if they're having a really slow build up from the back, then the likelihood that Mikolenko or anyone is caught out of position and forced narrow, and having a lot of space in and behind, that then we would have to have a really high line to make that happen. If they're going to build up really slow from the back, there's not going to be much room to do those diagonal balls. So I think that'll be interesting. Will at the smaller park that is Goodison, will they be able to be skillful enough to find that space for Dalot? It's certainly possible, but I'm curious to see if that pans out the way we're worried it is.
And remember, the last two performances against Manchester United, absolutely diabolical, and they come from us attacking Manchester United far too much. We were pushing up really, really high. United were able, like Chris just said there, they were able to play that diagonal ball across, catch us completely unawares, and to be through and goal so many times. So I don't know what happened there, because they were just completely ridiculous managerial tactical decisions from the previous manager. I don't want to keep talking about him. So hopefully that, like you said there, if they are passing it a bit slower, our back line isn't as high up on the pitch, we're not going to get completely turned over by a long ball kind of thing.
Yeah, it always seems to be we get caught out when we play away against United. There must be a bigger pitch than Goodison, and that's part of it too, that they take advantage of the space and the touchline and the width of the pitch. And Goodison's a little bit more packed and tight and cramped, which is a benefit to us in that situation.
Yeah, because we want to keep things narrow. We want to keep it compact, don't we? We don't want teams to have the space to kind of pass the ball around or spread it out wide. So yeah, no, you're certainly right. That which will be a change going into the new stadium, because I believe it's just as long, but it's a bit wider.
So there'll be a lot of room for Jesper Lindstrom to cut in and behind and start slashing through the goals after he's on the perma.
We need to get some absolutely rapid fullbacks or wingers in the team for next year to take advantage of a little bit of extra space.
Yeah. This is like at the Oscars when you have the music like playing like time to finish the speech, it's time to go watch the match. Sneaking in the Z-Cards theme,
rock and roll. So then, as Z-Cards plays us out, have we got any final words, boys, before the match starts?
For me, it's up the Toffees. Where this is the best time in a long time to be a Blue. I'm enjoying it. I'm living it. And look, if we don't win, I'm happy with boys being back. But I expect a lot today. And
come on, Chris. Let's go. We gotta go. Come on, the Toffees.
Up the Toffees.